I want to start here, because this is where so many of us quietly fall apart, without anyone else even noticing. You've probably had a morning like this. You wake up already a little behind. The coffee spills. Your keys are nowhere. You finally get out the door and realize you left your lunch on the counter. By the time you sit down at your desk, or open your laptop at the kitchen table, a familiar voice has already taken the microphone. Of course, this is how it starts. You're a mess. Everyone else manages to be a functional adult. Why can't you just get it together? It sounds small, right? Just a little internal grumbling. But that voice doesn't stay small. It never does. Negative self-talk is more than a bad habit or a personality quirk. It is a steady, low-grade form of emotional self-harm that slowly rewires how you experience yourself in the world. When that critical monologue runs unchecked, it doesn't just make you feel down. It chips away at the very foundation of mental health, your sense of safety, worth, and possibility. Let's look at what actually happens inside you. Every time the voice says you're so stupid or you'll never be enough, your brain treats those words as true. The same neural pathways that light up when someone else criticizes you also light up when you criticize you. Over time, the brain starts to expect threat, not from the outside world, but from the person who is supposed to be on your side. Cortisol stays elevated. The nervous system remains on low-level alert. Sleep gets lighter, digestion gets tighter. The body keeps score even when the mind pretends it's just thinking. Psychologically, this creates a closed loop. Negative self-talk fuels anxiety. What if I mess up again? Which then fuels more self-talk. See? You're already worried, weak. It feeds depression by quietly convincing you that effort is pointless because the outcome is already decided. You will fail. You will disappoint. You will be found wanting. It erodes self-esteem until I am not good enough stops feeling like a thought and starts feeling like a fact. And because the voice is so constant, so intimate, so you, it becomes almost impossible to question. You start to believe that this harshness is simply realistic or even helpful. The everyday example I shared earlier is common, but the spiral can look 100 different ways. Maybe it's the parent who snaps at their child after a long day and then spends the evening replaying, "I'm a terrible mother, father. They deserve better." Maybe it's the person who cancels plans for the third time because of exhaustion and hears, "You're flaky. No one really wants you around anyway." Maybe it's the quiet moment in front of the mirror when the voice says, "Still this body? Still these stretch marks? Still this face?" Whatever the trigger, the impact is the same. Your nervous system learns that home, the inside of you, is not a safe place. And when home doesn't feel safe, everything else gets harder. Relationships feel riskier. Rest feels undeserved. Joy feels suspicious. You begin to live as if you are constantly on probation with yourself. I want to be clear, this is not a personal failing. Most of us were never taught how to speak to ourselves with the same care we offer a friend. We absorbed the critical voice from culture, from childhood, from moments when we were small, and someone bigger decided our worth had conditions. The voice became so familiar that we stopped noticing it was even separate from us. It just felt like truth. But here's the quiet, important thing I need you to hear. That voice is not the only one inside you. There is another voice, softer, slower, often nearly drowned out. That has been there the whole time. It is the part of you that still flinches when the criticism lands. The part that wants rest, wants kindness, wants to believe you're allowed to take up space. That quieter voice is not weak. It is protective. It is the original you, still trying to keep you safe in the only way it knows how. By getting very, very small. Negative self-talk impacts mental health so deeply precisely because it crowds out that quieter voice until you can barely hear it anymore. The good news, and I mean this as real, practical good news, not empty cheer, is that once you can name the impact, you can begin to create space again. You do not have to silence the critical voice overnight. You do not have to just think positive. You only have to start noticing the difference between the loud, punishing monologue and the soft, steady presence that has always belonged to you.